Did you know that some people actually avoid Sigma females because they feel intimidated by their confidence and independence? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. So who exactly is a Sigma female? She's the woman who walks to the beat of her own drum. She's not the loudest in the room, but she commands respect without even trying. She's fiercely independent, values her own space, and doesn't need validation from anyone. Sigma females are often misunderstood because they don't fit into the typical social hierarchy. They're not the alpha who seeks the spotlight, and they're definitely not the beta who follows the crowd. But this unique quality is what makes them stand out. In a world where fitting in is the norm, Sigma females don't even try. Here's the thing. People tend to be afraid of what they don't understand, and that's why Sigma females can be seen as intimidating. You know the feeling, being that quiet, confident woman who's always in her own world. Some people just don't know how to handle her. They feel threatened by her independence, her strength, and her ability to stand alone. And that's not her problem, but it's something she has to face. Now, let's talk about the 8 surprising reasons why people might pull away from Sigma females. These are things she might have noticed, or maybe never thought of before. 1. Her independence makes others feel insecure. People don't know how to handle a Sigma female who doesn't rely on anyone. Her independence is seen as both a strength and a threat. It's like she's a mystery they can't figure out, and it makes them uncomfortable. At first glance, a Sigma female's ability to stand on her own without seeking anyone's approval or support might seem like an ideal quality. She's self-sufficient, comfortable with herself, and doesn't need the constant reassurance that others often crave. But that very trait is often what creates unease in those around her. To many, it's a sign that they don't have any power or influence over her, which leaves them unsure of how to interact with her. For the majority of people, especially those who thrive on social validation, independence is not something they can easily relate to. They are so accustomed to seeking validation from others, whether through likes on social media or compliments from friends, that they often don't know what to make of someone who seems perfectly fine without it. This kind of self-sufficiency can lead people to feel insecure because it challenges their beliefs about how relationships and social dynamics should work. They begin to question why they can't affect her the way they can with others. There's something unsettling about a person who doesn't need to be needed. It creates a space where others feel like they might be unimportant. It's almost like the Sigma female is playing a different game, one that they don't understand. It's this sense of mystery, of being completely content in one's own skin, that creates a sense of discomfort. It's not just about independence, it's about thriving in it. Sigma females do not struggle with loneliness or the need for validation the way many others do. She doesn't feel the need to fill her time with constant chatter or socializing just for the sake of it. That freedom to be alone, to do her own thing without feeling guilty, puts others on edge because they don't know how to be around someone who isn't constantly seeking the company or approval of others. This level of self-assurance makes others feel like they are being judged or that they are not enough, and that's the uncomfortable part for them. They aren't used to being around someone who doesn't need them, and they interpret that as a rejection of their value. What they don't realize is that a Sigma female's independence doesn't equate to them being unkind or aloof. It just means that she doesn't need people to feel complete. This can be hard for others to accept. People in social circles often crave connection. They see friendships as give and take, an exchange where both parties rely on each other for support. But for Sigma females, this dynamic doesn't hold the same weight. She is more than capable of offering support when needed, but she doesn't see her value tied to how much she gives to others. She knows that she is valuable simply by being herself. This mindset challenges the notion that we must always lean on others to survive socially. For some, this is empowering. For others, it's intimidating because it highlights how much they depend on social structures and external validation. It's as though a Sigma female's autonomy holds up a mirror to them, showing them just how much they rely on the social game to feel valid. This discomfort often leads to people pulling away because they are unsure of how to act. They want to figure her out, but they can't. Her independence doesn't follow the rules they know, and that unpredictability leaves them with more questions than answers. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that empowers women like you. Let's keep going. 2. She doesn't chase attention. In a world where everyone's fighting for the spotlight, Sigma females are content staying in the background. She's not competing for attention, and honestly, that confuses people. They might feel like they have to prove something to her. Sigma females aren't the ones who need to constantly be seen, heard, or acknowledged to feel validated. She knows her worth, and she doesn't need external applause or constant social recognition to remind her of it. Her confidence is rooted in something deeper, something that doesn't rely on the opinions of others. This creates a clear divide between her and those who are used to competing for attention in social settings. People are accustomed to the constant social games, trying to impress, one-up, or seek attention in order to feel valued. But Sigma females don't play those games. They show up, they do their thing, and they leave without seeking anything in return. This quiet power makes them stand out in a way that leaves others scratching their heads. It's like they have this invisible aura around them that draws people in without them even trying. Yet, at the same time, it creates a distance, because others don't know how to engage with someone who isn't trying to impress them. The need for attention can be deeply ingrained in many people, especially in today's social media-driven world. Validation, recognition, and admiration are often seen as signs of success. So when a Sigma female doesn't actively seek these things, others might view her as distant, cold, or even unapproachable. They might wonder, why isn't she interested in getting noticed? What's wrong with her? The truth is, nothing's wrong with her. She simply has no interest in fitting into the mold that society has built for attention-seeking behavior. This lack of desire for validation is freeing. She doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. But for some, it creates discomfort. They may misinterpret her low-key presence as disinterest or aloofness when, in reality, she just values her peace over the noise. There's also something intimidating about someone who doesn't crave attention because it suggests a level of self-assurance that many can't quite grasp. It's as though a Sigma female doesn't need the spotlight to feel seen, and that's a level of confidence most people are still working toward. For those who thrive on social interaction and constantly being in the center of attention, it's difficult to understand how anyone could not want to be constantly noticed. When a Sigma female refuses to play by those rules, it challenges the very idea of what it means to be successful or valued in a social setting. And because it challenges this norm, it can make others uncomfortable. They might start to question why they need to chase attention or why they're spending so much energy trying to impress others when the Sigma female doesn't seem to care. For some, it's a wake-up call. For others, it's a source of frustration. And that frustration often manifests as distancing themselves from the Sigma female because they don't understand her quiet strength. She doesn't need to chase attention, but it follows her anyway. She doesn't need to stand out, but her presence commands respect. It's a paradox that people can't easily reconcile, and that's why they might shy away from someone like her. Ultimately, Sigma females aren't bothered by this. They understand that seeking attention is a never-ending chase for validation, and they'd rather invest their energy elsewhere. It's this mindset that allows them to stay true to themselves, unaffected by the need to be anything but authentic. While others may scramble for attention, a Sigma female stands confidently in her own space, knowing her worth doesn't depend on anyone else's gaze, and that's the kind of power that can't be faked. It's the power of being completely comfortable with who you are, whether anyone notices or not. If you've ever noticed how your independence affects those around you, it's so interesting to hear your stories. Now, let's move on. 3. She doesn't conform to social norms. Sigma females don't follow the usual social rules. She creates her own path, and that makes some people feel uneasy. They're used to things being predictable and easy to understand, But she's unpredictable, and that's what makes her fascinating. In most social circles, there are certain expectations: what you wear, how you act, who you hang out with, and how you present yourself. People tend to follow the herd because it's safer, easier, and less likely to draw attention. But a Sigma female? She does things her way, and she doesn't care if it fits into the norm or not. This doesn't mean she's rebellious just for the sake of it. It's just that she's aware that the so-called rules are arbitrary and they don't define her worth. She doesn't play by the unwritten social code that dictates how a person should act, dress, or speak. She'll wear what she likes, speak her truth, and follow her own goals, regardless of whether others approve or not. It's like she sees right through the societal pressure to conform, and instead, she chooses authenticity. Her willingness to break free from the mold is a huge part of why people may pull away. It's disorienting to be around someone who doesn't play by the same rules you do. It's like she's operating on a different frequency, and for some, that's too much to handle. People love certainty. They love being able to predict outcomes, and social dynamics are no different. When someone behaves in a way that doesn't fit within the established structure, it leaves others feeling uncertain about how to approach them. This discomfort often stems from insecurity. If someone doesn't conform to the status quo, others may wonder if there's something wrong with their own approach to life. They may feel judged by the Sigma female's boldness, even though she's not actively trying to make anyone feel bad. It's just that she's doing her own thing without seeking approval. This kind of behavior makes others reflect on their own actions. When people see a Sigma female not fitting into the traditional roles that society assigns to women, it makes them question their own beliefs. Why do I care so much about what others think, they might ask. Is it really necessary to conform to every expectation? These questions can be eye-opening, but they're also uncomfortable. It forces people to confront their own fears of standing out or breaking free from the social pack. For some, that's too much. They'd rather just follow the rules, blend in, and not face the discomfort of challenging their own limitations. But Sigma females? They're comfortable standing alone. They've realized that they don't need to seek external validation or social approval to live a fulfilling life. They don't need a label or a social identity that fits into a neat category. Being herself is enough. It's this unapologetic confidence in who she is that makes her so magnetic and yet difficult for some people to understand. The fact that she's not trying to please anyone is a clear sign of her inner strength. While most people are playing the social game, constantly shifting to fit in, a Sigma female simply doesn't care about winning that game. She's found a deeper sense of peace in not needing to conform, and that's something people who are stuck in the social rat race can't quite comprehend. It's a hard truth to swallow for those who are bound by the expectations of others, and that's why many pull away. They don't know how to deal with someone who isn't concerned with fitting in. This is where a Sigma female's power truly lies. It's not just in her actions, but in her refusal to let anyone dictate who she should be. And that, my friends, is something that makes her truly exceptional. While others are stuck playing by outdated rules, she's free to be whoever she wants. And that's exactly why she stands out. 4. She doesn't need validation. When a Sigma female doesn't need people to tell her that she's worthy, it sends a message. People get pulled away because they want to be around someone who needs their approval. But she's already approved of herself, and that's powerful. In a world that thrives on social validation, seeking approval from others has become a routine, almost like an addiction. Likes, comments, compliments. People feed off these things to feel good about themselves. Yet, Sigma females don't play by these rules. She's never been the type to seek out others' approval to feel validated. She doesn't need people to confirm her worth. She's already confident in who she is, and that's one of the most powerful things a person can possess. This doesn't mean she's arrogant or dismissive of others. It simply means that her self-worth isn't dependent on external factors. She knows who she is, and that's enough. And that's the part that confuses people. They're used to the constant back and forth of needing reassurance from others, but the Sigma female doesn't need any of that. She doesn't require constant praise or validation from anyone, and this often makes others uneasy. For many people, validation is like air. It's necessary to feel validated in order to feel secure in who they are. But Sigma females breathe just fine without it. She doesn't feel the need to constantly prove herself or put her worth on display for others to see. She understands that her value doesn't come from the outside world, but from within herself. And that's exactly what others find so intimidating. They can't figure out why she doesn't seek approval. It's almost as if she's immune to the same social pressures that everyone else is so vulnerable to. The truth is, the need for validation is often tied to insecurity. It's not that people who seek validation are bad, it's just that they don't feel as confident in their own skin. They depend on others to tell them they're good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. For Sigma females, this dependency is unnecessary. She knows her strengths, her weaknesses, and everything in between. She doesn't need anyone's permission to be herself, and that creates a stark contrast with others who might feel incomplete without the validation of their peers. This sense of being complete, of being whole without outside confirmation, is unsettling to those who rely on approval. It's a wake-up call to their own insecurities. This also leads to a certain distance between the Sigma female and those who do crave validation. While others are caught up in the need to show off their achievements, look perfect on social media, or get constant recognition, she simply doesn't care. She's not interested in proving anything because she doesn't need to. She knows that the opinions of others don't define her. For some, this feels like a threat, because if she doesn't need validation, does that mean they're doing something wrong by seeking it? In reality, it's not about right or wrong, it's about different perspectives. People who chase external validation are often unaware that they're letting others dictate their sense of self-worth. But for Sigma females, this self-sufficiency is not a limitation. It's a superpower. She doesn't seek validation, but she certainly doesn't shy away from it when it comes her way. She simply doesn't rely on it to feel good about herself. And that's why people pull away from her. It forces them to confront their own need for approval and recognize that, perhaps, they're looking for something outside themselves to feel whole. Meanwhile, the Sigma female is already whole, and that's exactly what makes her so unique. Pause. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you never miss out on more empowering content. Let's dive into the next reason. 5. Her confidence is unshakable. Ever notice how a Sigma female's confidence doesn't waver no matter what's going on around her? Some people find it hard to relate. Her unwavering belief in herself makes others feel insecure or like they're not enough. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need to be loud, but it speaks volumes. It's not about showing off or boasting, it's about having the inner strength to know that no matter what happens, she's got herself covered. When she enters a room, she doesn't need to announce her presence. People can feel her energy, and that's enough. But for others, this kind of unshakable self-belief can be intimidating. They might look at her and wonder, how does she do it? Why does she seem so sure of herself? And the truth is, Sigma females are sure of themselves because they don't rely on anyone else to validate their worth. This level of confidence doesn't come from constant reassurance or being told they're great. It's built from within. It's the result of years of learning to trust themselves, to go after what they want without hesitation, and to face life's challenges head-on. But for those around them, this kind of self-assurance can feel threatening. It's as though they're being held up to a standard they can't reach, and it makes them feel insecure because they're not used to seeing someone who's so comfortable in their own skin. Confidence like this doesn't fit into the usual social dynamics. People are used to the idea that confidence means being loud, extroverted, and seeking attention. But the Sigma female's confidence is quiet, subtle, and incredibly strong. It doesn't demand to be noticed, yet it draws people in. It's this contradiction, being both quiet and powerful, that confuses people. It's hard for them to wrap their heads around. Most people are used to the constant back and forth of social approval, second-guessing themselves and trying to fit in. But a Sigma female, she doesn't play those games. She walks into a room with no need for external validation, and that kind of presence can feel like a wake-up call for people who are still seeking approval. It forces them to confront their own insecurities, and that can be uncomfortable. When others are still questioning their worth or whether they're doing enough, the Sigma female stands tall, unfazed by the noise around her. This unshakable confidence can cause people to pull away because they feel like they can't keep up. It's not that they dislike the Sigma female, it's that her self-assurance exposes their own self-doubt. It's like looking in a mirror and seeing something they're not ready to face. The Sigma female's strength isn't intimidating in a negative way. It's just a reminder that confidence comes from within, not from others' approval. Her belief in herself is the kind of power that doesn't need to be loud. It simply is. And because this confidence makes others uncomfortable, they may step back. They don't know how to relate to someone who doesn't need to seek approval, and it's easier for them to pull away rather than try to understand it. But for the Sigma female, she doesn't need anyone's understanding to feel validated. She's already got that covered. Her unshakable confidence is what sets her apart from the rest, and that's exactly what makes her a force to be reckoned with. 6. She sets strong boundaries. A Sigma female knows exactly what she wants, and she doesn't settle for anything less. Boundaries are essential to her, but that's something others can find hard to deal with. They might want to push her limits, but she won't let them. Having clear boundaries isn't just a preference, it's a necessity for her well-being. She understands that in order to maintain her peace and authenticity, she has to draw a line when it comes to how others treat her. She doesn't compromise her values or her time for anyone. This can make people uncomfortable. For many, setting boundaries is seen as a sign of weakness or a lack of flexibility. People tend to push and test boundaries, expecting others to bend or break to meet their needs. But for a Sigma female, boundaries are non-negotiable. She won't let anyone overstep, and that's something that doesn't always sit well with others. They might expect her to adjust to their comfort zones, but she'll firmly say no if it doesn't align with her own principles. This doesn't mean she's being cold or unapproachable. It means she's respecting herself enough to not let anyone else dictate her life. Yet, for some, it's hard to accept this. They don't understand why she's not more flexible or accommodating. In their minds, it's easier to just say yes to everything, to make everyone happy, and to avoid conflict. But Sigma females aren't interested in avoiding conflict for the sake of peace. They'd rather face discomfort in the short term than sacrifice their integrity or well-being in the long run. When they set a boundary, it's because they've learned that their needs matter just as much as anyone else's. It's a reminder that they don't have to apologize for taking care of themselves. People often pull away when they encounter someone with strong boundaries because they don't know how to react. Many people are used to being able to manipulate or push others into doing things they don't want to do. But a Sigma female won't be easily swayed. Her boundaries aren't there to create distance, but to protect her peace and prioritize her own happiness. This level of self-respect is something people either admire or fear, but they can't ignore it. And for those who are used to bending to others' demands, it can feel like a personal rejection when a Sigma female refuses to accommodate them. They might feel like they're being judged or pushed aside, but in reality, she's simply ensuring that her own needs are met. The Sigma female understands that if she doesn't protect her own boundaries, no one else will. This is one of her greatest strengths. She has learned to value herself enough to set limits, even when it makes others uncomfortable. But this is also why people might pull away from her. It's easier for them to distance themselves from someone who doesn't let them get what they want than to try to understand why she's setting those boundaries. They might even interpret her boundary setting as a form of rejection, when in fact it's an act of self-love and preservation. In the end, the Sigma female's ability to set and enforce boundaries is one of the things that makes her so powerful. She teaches others the importance of respecting themselves and knowing their worth. And while others may struggle with this concept, she remains firm and unshaken in her resolve to prioritize her own happiness and well-being. Her boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges to a healthier, more authentic life. 7. She doesn't get involved in drama. Sigma females don't have time for gossip or unnecessary drama. If she's not interested in playing games, people might assume she's distant or cold. But really, she's just saving her energy for the things that matter. Drama is everywhere, on social media, in work environments, and even in personal relationships. People love to stir things up, create chaos, and keep conversations going just for the sake of it. But not the Sigma female. She knows better. She's learned that drama is a waste of energy. It's toxic and distracting, and it never leads anywhere productive. Instead of engaging in petty conflicts or spreading rumors, she focuses on what's important: her goals, her personal growth, and her peace of mind. This doesn't mean she's uninterested in the lives of others, or that she doesn't care about her relationships. It just means that she's selective about where she invests her time and energy. Drama-filled situations are draining, and she won't allow herself to be sucked into them. But for others, this behavior can be puzzling. They might think, why isn't she more involved? Why doesn't she care about what's happening around her? The truth is, she does care, but she knows that getting involved in drama won't solve anything. Instead, it only wastes time and harms relationships. People who thrive on drama often have a hard time understanding why the Sigma female doesn't engage. It's like they're looking for a reaction, but she simply refuses to give it to them. She's not interested in stirring the pot or making things unnecessarily complicated. Instead, she calmly observes the chaos around her and chooses not to participate. Some might think she's being cold or aloof, but it's just that she doesn't have the mental bandwidth to entertain distractions. She's laser-focused on her own path and won't let anything or anyone derail her from it. But this focus on peace and purpose can make others uncomfortable. People who thrive in the chaos of drama are often insecure or uncertain about their own lives. So when they see someone so calm and composed, it forces them to face their own inner turbulence. They can't figure out why she's not joining in the drama or feeding into the gossip, and that uncertainty can make them withdraw. The Sigma female's refusal to engage in drama is actually an act of strength. It shows that she's not easily swayed by outside noise. It shows that she understands the power of focusing on what truly matters. Drama might feel exciting in the moment, but it never brings lasting fulfillment. In fact, it only creates more problems down the line. That's why Sigma females would rather avoid it altogether. Her peace of mind is more important than any fleeting satisfaction from participating in toxic behavior. This sense of calm and distance is a form of self-preservation. It allows her to avoid unnecessary emotional turmoil and maintain a clear head. But for those who crave the thrill of drama, it's unsettling. They don't understand how someone can be so unaffected by the chaos they create, and that's why some people may pull away. It's easier for them to distance themselves from someone who won't play their games than to face the reality of their own drama-filled lives. The Sigma female doesn't need drama to feel important. She doesn't need gossip to stay engaged. She knows her worth without having to make noise about it, and that's exactly what makes her stand out. 8. She's comfortable in her own company. A Sigma female is perfectly fine being on her own. In fact, she thrives in solitude. But for some people, that's a foreign concept. They see her alone time as a sign of detachment or loneliness, but it's actually her source of power. Being alone doesn't scare her. She isn't looking for constant validation from others to feel fulfilled, and that's something that most people don't understand. In a world where everyone is connected, constantly chatting, texting, posting on social media, it can be hard to imagine someone who's perfectly content in their own space. People are used to the idea that being alone means something's wrong, that a person is somehow broken or in need of company. But a Sigma female isn't missing anything by being by herself. She's enjoying her own company because it gives her the chance to recharge, reflect, and focus on the things that matter to her. This level of independence can be intimidating because it challenges the belief that we need others to feel complete. Many people feel pressure to constantly be surrounded by friends or family to feel validated. They fear being alone, thinking that loneliness equates to being unimportant. But for the Sigma female, solitude is a time to reconnect with herself, gather her thoughts, and strengthen her sense of self. It's where she finds her clarity, and it's where her creativity and productivity flourish. Being alone is never seen as a weakness or a failure for her. It's a choice. But this comfort in solitude is what makes others pull away. They can't understand how someone could be so content without constantly being in social situations. They look at her and wonder, why doesn't she want to hang out? Why isn't she always making plans? But she doesn't need plans or parties to feel fulfilled. She understands that time alone doesn't mean she's missing out. It means she's taking the time to focus on what truly matters. This doesn't mean she doesn't enjoy socializing or being around people. She values deep, meaningful connections, but she's selective about who she spends her time with. She's not interested in small talk or superficial friendships. Her time is precious, and she's mindful of how she uses it. People who don't understand this might feel uncomfortable with her independence. They might think she's standoffish or uninterested in them, but that's not it at all. She's just comfortable with herself. She doesn't need external distractions to feel complete. This level of self-sufficiency is rare, and it makes people question their own reliance on others for validation. They might feel like she's setting a standard they can't live up to. It's not about rejecting others. It's about choosing peace and solitude over the noise and chaos that often come with social obligations. For some, it's easier to back off than to try and understand why the Sigma female can be content on her own. The idea of being alone doesn't faze her. It's where she gathers her strength, and it's what allows her to be so focused and clear-headed. And while others might look at her and feel the urge to pull away, she remains grounded, knowing that being alone is where she's at her most powerful. She's perfectly fine being alone, and that's exactly why she's so strong. But here's the twist. Despite all of this, Sigma females have the ability to transform their social circles. When people step back, it's often because they don't know how to keep up with her. They might feel lost or overwhelmed by her strength and independence, but this doesn't mean that she's any less impactful. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The Sigma female's energy can stir something deep within others, even if they don't fully understand her. Her quiet strength, unwavering independence, and authenticity leave a lasting impression. People may shy away because they feel they can't match her energy, or because they're intimidated by the depth of her self-sufficiency, but that's precisely the reason why they remember her. They can't forget someone who stands so tall, not because they've been forced to, but because they've chosen to stand on their own. Over time, this causes them to reflect on their own lives and choices. They start to ask themselves, why don't I feel the same level of confidence? Why am I constantly searching for validation? The Sigma female's mere existence challenges the social norms that others cling to. She doesn't need to say a word. Her actions, her choices, and her authenticity speak volumes. Even if people pull away at first, they often find themselves coming back to her ideas, perspectives, and lifestyle in the long run. Her quiet power lingers in their minds, subtly pushing them towards self-reflection and growth. The beauty of a Sigma female's presence is that she doesn't force anyone to change. Instead, she creates an environment where others feel compelled to grow on their own. Her very existence serves as a reminder that true strength doesn't come from seeking approval or chasing external rewards. It comes from understanding who you are and living in alignment with your core values. And the best part? This shift happens naturally. As others witness her strength and independence, they start to see the value in it, even if they initially felt threatened or disconnected from it. The Sigma female doesn't need to chase people or try to fit into a mold. She's already inspiring others just by being unapologetically herself. She's a beacon of light for those who are ready to embrace their own power. So, to all the Sigma females out there, keep doing your thing. Your independence isn't something to shy away from, it's something to embrace. The way you live your life, without seeking validation or bending to societal pressures, is exactly what makes you extraordinary. People may pull away, but that's only because they're trying to understand something they haven't yet grasped. It's not a reflection of your worth, but rather a reflection of their own uncertainty. They are still trying to figure out what it means to be truly independent, and you are showing them the way without even trying. Don't let their confusion or discomfort make you doubt yourself. You don't need to change for anyone because you're already extraordinary just the way you are. Your strength, confidence, and authenticity are your superpowers, and you should never dim them to fit someone else's idea of normal. Keep walking your path and trust that your true impact will be felt by those who are meant to see it. The world needs more Sigma females like you, women who can inspire others simply by being themselves. So keep being you. It's more than enough. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt people pulling away because they didn't understand your Sigma energy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What has your experience been like? Have you ever had to navigate a situation where your independence made others uncomfortable? I'd love to hear your stories. And if you're interested in learning more about social dynamics, personality types, or just want more empowerment content, check out my next video. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Let's continue this conversation because there's so much more to explore about embracing our true selves.